Let's talk a little bit about the picks that we've got right now. Let's get your take first on General Kelly in terms of Homeland Security. There were a number of people who would have liked that job, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first, your thoughts on him.
Well, he's a terrific pick, and there's been a lot of talk about how President-elect Trump is choosing a lot of generals. Well, in the case of Homeland Security, it's a great idea to put a general in charge because it reinforces the message that the battle against terror is a matter of war, not a matter of law enforcement. And putting a general in charge of protecting the homeland is smart, and Kelly's a perfect pick for it. Kelly, one of his principal missions is going to be securing the southern border. He was the head of U.S. Southern Command, which is the military command in charge of protecting our hemisphere, and he was when he in that job, he was sounding the alarm when very few people were listening about Iranian infiltration of South America, the infiltration of Hezbollah terrorists who could come into this country and infiltrate terrorists through our porous southern border. So he's going to put a big focus on that.
When you look at the process and how this is all taking place, Kelly's name first surfaced in the Secretary of State search. And there's an interesting piece in the Wall Street Journal this morning about how these vetting processes go. First of all, they're very public. You walk through the lobby. Second of all, he grills these people, and he tries to sort of get them off their game a little bit. He wants to see how aggressive and how smart they are about their subject matter, right?
Oh, absolutely. And look, he had a lot of practice on The Apprentice and grilling potential employees. So, I think Donald Trump, one of his qualities, whether you're a supporter or an opponent of Donald Trump, one of his qualities certainly is picking and finding talent and picking talent. And he's doing a fantastic job. This is going to be one of the most conservative cabinets any president has ever put forward. If you think about, Jeff Sessions as Attorney General, Betsy DeVos, one of the nation's leading champions of school choice and education, Ben Carson at HUD, who is probably the first HUD secretary who's actually lived in an inner city, as opposed to talked about it from the ivory tower. And now you've got General Kelly, and you've got Scott Pruitt now at EPA, who's going to be a fantastic choice for EPA.
Yeah. In terms
in fact, it's funny. You called it the APA. It's going to become the American Protection Agency under Scott Pruitt. So I think it actually should be the right name, APA, instead of EPA.
In terms of who didn't get picked, Homeland Security, one of the names that pops up is Rudy Giuliani, who did an amazing job with New York City after 9/11 and who may or may not still be in the mix for the State Department. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Rudy Giuliani was a huge. I'm a New Yorker, and I was in the Pentagon on September 11th. So Rudy Giuliani was he was a terrific mayor, and he was a terrific leader in the days after 9/11. So I would love to see him in some sort of senior position. He really put all of his chips on. It looks like he put all of his chips on Secretary of State. We'll see if that bet pays off or not. I think he would have been a great candidate for Homeland Security as well. So we'll see where he comes out on that.
Mike McCall was another name that was in there for Homeland Security, a member of Congress who's been very active in this as well. So it's clear that there's a lot of people that are in the mix, and that some of them, maybe are getting moved into different positions as they fall on the list of somebody that Donald Trump really, really likes and wants to find something for. Talk to us a little bit about Pruitt, because people who are concerned about the environment, some of them, feel that he is not the right guy for this. What do you think?
Well, Pruitt's concerned about the environment. We're all concerned about the environment, but Pruitt believes it's great having a state official in charge of the EPA, because Pruitt believes that the states were intended under the Constitution to be the principal regulators of the environment. People closest to the land should be making decisions about how the land and how the environment is taken care of. And so President Obama has been abusing the powers of the EPA to impose a radical environmental agenda on this country that is killing jobs and hurting the economy. And Pruitt's going to roll that back so we can have clean energy development. It's funny, the Sierra Club said, which is a left-wing environmental group, said that it's like putting an arsonist in charge of putting out fires. Well, with all respect, we need to light a fire on this economy, and the EPA has been pouring cold water on the economy, on energy development, and all these other things. And so that's exactly the kind of person we want at the EPA, someone who's going to have responsible energy production, who's going to protect the environment, defer to states, but also clear the way so we can create jobs and become energy independent, both for our national security and our economic security.